wonderful people, welcome back to my channel. It's still me, your girl Obiama Okoli. So how are you all doing? How you all doing? I hope you guys are having a wonderful time. How are you having fun in the summer? So today, guys, welcome back. So to my subscribers, you guys are the best. I appreciate you watching me. I appreciate everything you do for this channel. I appreciate your sharing me to different communities. I appreciate you always giving me suggestions and tips in what to do to make this channel grow. You guys are always welcome anytime. Remain blessed. So for those that are seeing me for the first time, guys, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Believe me, you won't regret subscribing. Subscribe, turn on your bell button so you get more videos from me. So today we're back with another episode. You know, for the last 2 weeks, we talked about signs on how to know if you're in a toxic relationship. We mentioned a lot of things to see in a relationship and realize that you've been with a toxic person. So today, what we want to talk about is, what if you're actually the person who is toxic in this relationship? What if it happens that all these things that we mentioned, being judgmental, insecurity, being jealous, being unapologetic, what if all these things will be mentioning, overthinking, having some overbearing attitude, controlling, all these things we've been talking about? What if the person we're talking about is actually you? So as we're listing this point, what if you're like, oh, she's actually talking about me? What are you going to do? What if the monster in your relationship is actually you? Ask yourself, can I actually enjoy my own companion? Am I a good person to be with? Ask yourself if you've always have issues with anyone that comes close to you. If you've always sabotaged all your relationship. If you're always complaining that people don't understand you, because each time you go in the midst of people, there's always a conflict between you and them. How well do you do with your siblings, with everyone around you, your spouse, your friends, your parents, everybody around you? How well do you cope with them? Ask yourself all those questions, because you really need to know if actually this toxic person we're talking about is you or not. You know, sometimes we complain about some other persons doing this and doing that to us without actually thinking or asking ourselves if we're actually in the wrong. We feel that everyone around us is judgmental, everyone around us is judging us, everyone around us is complaining about us. Are you sure that the problem is not with you and not every other one else? So if you're the person that actually have this toxic habit, what do? Are you going to be like, are you going to give up on yourself? Because whether you like it or not, you're the only person that can represent yourself well anywhere. You're the only person that can work on yourself. Others cannot work on you. You are the one to work on yourself. So what are you going to do? How are you going to stop those toxic habits? That is what today's video is all about. So let me tell you, don't get it twisted. All of us were imperfect. So at one point in life or the other, we've actually shown one or few toxic traits. We've exhibited few toxic habits. You understand? So what if this toxic habits that we're talking about, we're actually the person doing it to someone else? What are we going to do? How are we going to retrace our step back? How are we going to change? How are we going to work to being the better version of ourselves? That is what this video is all about. So hang on, just keep watching. Don't turn this video off. Just keep on watching, because we'll have a lot of things to say. I'll see you in a minute. So welcome back. So one more thing. Until you have dealt with the insecurities you have within yourself, until you have dealt with the monster in yourself, until you have dealt with all your fears, you cannot actually be in a relationship that is healthy. So first of all, what causes a person to be toxic? When I was talking about the last video I did on signs on how to see if you're in a toxic relationship, one of the things I said is, when you've been too long in a toxic relationship, it clouds your sense of judgment. You begin to see those things as the normal way of life. So you yourself, you begin to pick those traits, those toxic traits. So it's one of the causes of being toxic. It could be that you grew up as a child, you were growing up with around toxic people. You were seeing the way they were acting, the way they were living, and you grew up thinking that those were the normal way for you to act. It could be that you're toxic because you just came out of a very, very, very bad relationship. You still have a lot of wounds that are not yet healed because of the hurts, because of the brokenness you feel from that past relationship. So that wound is still very fresh. And because of that particular wound, you tend to kind of hide or protect yourself by bringing out some of those traits, some of those habits that makes you toxic. Maybe your previous relationship, you went through hell. And then in order for you not to go through that same hell in the hand of another man or another woman, you decide to what? Be too loud, be insecure. You decide to show you begin to overthink, you begin to show over domineering attitudes in this relationship. Why? Because you don't want the past to repeat itself. So one, it could be childhood trauma, growing, seeing people around you that are toxic, and you just pick those traits. Two, it could just be that you were in a bad relationship, and now you've seen this particular traits or habits that you're exhibiting as the best way to live. Three, it could just be that naturally you're just a kind of person that has the controlling nature, because some people naturally are controlling in nature. That's just how they are. And then in order for you to achieve that control, you can now try to do one of all those things we're talking about. Then what else again can cause this? It could be because you have a lot of fears. You have a lot of insecurities within you. Because most times you display this toxic attitude in order to cover up your own insecurities. So instead of you to face your fears, you're not trying to you're not trying to project some other attitudes to overshadow, to cover that fear that you have within yourself. So that could be the cause of why you're toxic. So no matter what the cause is, the thing is that now you're a toxic person. You're in a relationship and you keep on pushing people away. You keep on sabotaging your relationship. And even at that, you always feel that you're the victim here. So how do you retrace your stuff? How do you work on yourself so you can be in a healthy relationship? The first thing to do is for you to acknowledge. You have to be aware that yes, I am toxic in this relationship. That this relationship is not working is because I am toxic. That is the first step. The first step to anything is self-awareness. If you are aware that I am like this, then you will now be intentional. So the first thing is for you to be self-aware. So now I'm aware that I'm a toxic person and I don't like it. Everyone complains about how I react to situations. Everyone complains that whenever I'm around, there's conflict. Everyone complains that I overthink. Every relationship I'm in is usually short because I sabotage it. I don't want this to continue. I want it to stop. That takes us to the next step. Now you're being intentional. You want this to stop. So you're being intentional. Before you say or do anything, you think of it. How do I say it? You think of that thing. Is it appropriate? Is it right at this moment? Is it necessary at this moment? Is it going to help the situation or is it going to make things worse? That is being intentional. So before you react, before you say anything, you make sure you think about it thoroughly. Then another thing, taking responsibilities, because you have to be responsible for every action you'd make. That is being disciplined. If you're disciplined, one thing you do is whatever action that you take, you take the responsibility and say, yeah, I did this. It was wrong. And what? I am sorry. People don't realize, but I'm sorry is a very big word. In as much as it's just a 6-letter word, sorry, but it goes a long way to heal a lot of things. It goes a long way to prevent a lot of catastrophe. A lot of conflict would have been avoided if the word sorry was used. So pick that habit. Use the word I'm sorry constantly. Whether you're the one in the wrong or whether you're not, just say I'm sorry for your own peace of mind. Because if you initially as a toxic person, you're unapologetic. You don't care if the person feels hurt. You don't apologize. You're not empathic. You don't show compassion. But the first step of being empathic, showing compassion, is realizing that you're wrong. being intentional about everything you say, and learning when to say I'm sorry. The next thing, learning how to be appreciative. Believe me, if you're someone that shows a lot of appreciation in your relationship, you will have a healthy relationship. People like you to tell them, oh, thank you for this. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Even though they tell you, oh, no, don't mention it. Don't mention it. What are friends for? What are siblings for? Why am I your mom? Why am I your dad? But they really do need to hear that thank you from you. So if you're this person, get in the habit of saying the word thank you. Then learn how to control your reaction. Because most times when people react to something, there's always a bigger action ahead. Learn how to control your reaction. Not every time you burst into full anger. Not every time you want to raise your voice, you want to brag, you want to make everyone know that I am upset. No, it's not necessary. Sometimes you don't necessarily need to react to things. Sometimes you just need to be silent about things, especially when you know you're now very mad. It goes a long way to help you curtail the things you say, what you do, and how you make others view you. Another thing to do if you're someone who is very toxic, try as much as you can to ask people how they feel about what you've done to them. Because it's the first step in being empathic is asking people, the last time I did this, how did you feel? You're not saying it because you want to create a conflict out of it. No, you want to kind of retrace your step. Talk to your partners about how toxic you've been. Tell them, you know what? I know that I'm so hot-tempered. I know that sometimes I can overthink. I know that sometimes I can be so jealous. But I want you to know that I'm trying my best. I'm working on it to make sure that this relationship will be healthy. So if you do that, your partner now is going to want to help you to achieve this goal, to make sure that both of you have the healthy relationship. So if you're watching this video and you've been toxic in your relationship, you've been making this one person that you love so much to go through hell in a relationship with you, I want you to trace back your step. Be intentional. Be aware of these things. Each things you do, whatever things you do, whatever reaction you do, make sure it's intentional. And these things are going to take time. It's not just something you just boom and it's done. No. You're going to need time to yourself. You're going to continually be practicing this thing. Before you know, it becomes your way of life. Before you know, you begin to be a happy person. Be happy with yourself. Whatever insecurities or fears you have, face them. If you think you can actually get help from therapy, then yeah, it's a good idea. Go for therapy. Face your fears. Work on your insecurities. Let go of the past. Whatever wound that's still very fresh, you have to let go of it and do things. Distract yourself so you can heal. Because if you're not healed, if you've not let go of the past, all those things are still going to be haunting you. And if it's about your childhood, begin to change your perception about life. Begin to read books that encourages you on how to be a happy person. Because believe me, before you can make someone else to be happy, before you can make a healthy relationship, you yourself, you need to be happy. You yourself, you need to be healthy. So if you're watching me today, I want to believe that you've actually made the first bold step by accepting the fact that you are the toxic person in your relationship. And also acknowledging the fact that you need to work on yourself for you to be able to present the best version of yourself in your relationship. So thank you, wonderful people, for always coming to watch my channel. Thank you, guys. I love the way you guys motivate me. I appreciate all your efforts. And if you've watched to this extent, thank you. And God bless you as you did this. Remain blessed and have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.